Welcome back. We're going to go to Proverbs chapter 14, and I'm going to try to do something different today. I'm going to instead of going through the whole chapter, I'm just going to read because I already pre-read was the chapter, and I just underlined some verses that stood out to me, and it'll be faster. The videos will be shorter. I know it's a lot of time to invest to listen to me, especially since I'm not a good speaker. I mean, I don't try to, I don't listen to myself record on my recordings, and when I do, it kind of, it's one of those. I don't know. I just don't like my voice. But I do want to share what I learned, and I want to share with you, and hopefully that my voice is not too annoying to you, and especially my accent. My accent's pretty strong. Anyways, chapter 14. And the first verse that actually stood out for me is verse 2. He that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. So it's pretty simple. Uh, he that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord. If you switch it over, the fear of the Lord. If you have that reverence for the Lord, if you have that healthy, honoring, reverence, praise, everything that it's good that you think about God, and you know His power, you know His all knowing, you should have that healthy fear of Him. It's not a bad fear, it's not a condemned you fear, but it's a fear that would naturally have for a father. Whenever he walks in a room, you pay attention, you listen to what he has to say. If he tells you to do something, you would do it because he is your father. Same thing with our Heavenly Father. You should have that healthy reverence, a healthy fear. And it says, he that walketh upright. It's natural whenever you have if you grew up with a decent father, a father that was godly, a father that was God-fearing himself, he would raise you correctly where, like I said earlier, if his word is said, he would do, but also he would teach you things not by only words, but by his actions. And God's been good to us, and he's taught us so many things through his word and through life. And we've seen so many miracles, especially salvation. If we don't deserve it, we don't earn it. It's a free gift, and it's something that he's done for us. And I think you should be very conscientious of that. You didn't have to, but he wanted to, and that's a wonderful thing. But the fear of the Lord is something that all men should have. Even men that think they're atheists knows there's a God, and they don't fear him. They don't think that but in one day they will. They have to stand in front of him, and that fear is a different fear. But for us, it's more of a fatherly fear. It's more of a reverent fear. But because of that, we walk uprightly. All right, the second one for me that stood out was verse 5. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. Self-explanatory. Faithful witness, a witness that doesn't lie. Of course, all men are liars, and if we say there is no lie in us, if there's no sin in us, we call God liar, and we do sin and we do lie, and it's just our fallen nature. Now, it's no excuse to lie. We should try our best to keep our word, try our best to give good information, to give proper information that is backed up by sources or anything like that. Especially when you're speaking about somebody, if they ask you about this person or so and so, who is this so and so, you should give a good witness. Good witness is a honest assessment of a person. Just like whenever we witness for the Lord, we actually tell a witness of who the Lord is. and what He's done for us. And that is a good example. But we have to be honest in everything that we do. I mean, just don't lie. Try to not to lie. That's pretty much it. Third one is going to be verse 8. The wisdom of the prudent is to the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly is fool's deceit. So let me read that again. I'm sorry. But the folly of fools is deceit. Now, it says again, the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way. This is how, the way it has it right here on the side. Now I use a Thompson chain, and it's very good Bible. I really like it. Right here it says, forethought. So for me, it's like saying self-aware. I think we should be self-aware of what we say. We should, whenever we talk, we comport ourselves with people, how we deal with family members, friends, strangers. We have to be self-aware. We already have a bad rap about being hypocrites. And yeah, I mean, we could be hypocrites at times, but that should be minimal. Everybody's a hypocrite. But the true hypocrite, a hypocrite that's honest about it, tries to change it. A hypocrite that doesn't try to change it and it's a hypocrite, it's a hypocrite. I think most of the world is not very self-aware. They have a vision of themselves that it's more than they really are. It's part of the narcissistic side of our human nature. We really think highly of ourselves. Even the people that pretend to be, like, woe is me, they do it for attention. And there are some people that are struggling with self-image, self this, self that, and it's a real thing, but it's minimal. And those people need to seek, the Lord is their only help. The Lord made them wonderful. The Lord made them beautiful. Whenever He sees His creation, He is happy with it. Well, He's not happy with our sin nature, but He created us for a reason. He wants to have fellowship with us. So whenever we do come to Him in faith and have fellowship with us, and when we have fellowship with Him, He sees us as their son or daughter. And when I look at my son or daughters, I look at them with love. I love them very much. I would do anything for them. And for Heavenly Father is the same way. But when it comes to self-awareness, that's something that I learned a few years back. Because people would say whatever it takes to move an agenda, their own agenda, or to make people feel better about themselves. And also, we are self-promoters by nature, just to get ahead of something. And we need to be aware of our flaws. We need to be aware of our strengths too. But we have to be self-aware of our flaws or our triggers. Like, when they have these therapy sessions for addiction or whatever, they talk about triggers. So that's pretty much letting you know, like, hey, learn yourself, learn who you are, see what trips you up to commit sin. So, or commit this, to go back to whatever addiction you have. And stay away from them or remove them. I think we should be the same way too when it comes to our Christian life. We need to realize what our sin is, what our predominant sin is. What is it that we still have lingering in ourselves that we go back and delve into things that we're not supposed to. We need to be self-aware. All right, the next one is verse 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. I don't think. This is pretty much telling us that our ways are not good ways. In our own power, in our own ways, our self-will always goes the wrong way. Always. I mean, I think you've heard me before, and I mean, I'm going to tell you, my past was a horrible past, and I did everything my way, and everything crumbled because I did it my own way. And whenever I let God in my life, when I let Him, when I submit to His authority, things are rough, but they are good. I learned something from them, and there are blessings, and there are wonderful, joyful times that it's not because of me, it's because of Him, because He made it happen, because I obeyed His word, I did what I was supposed to because He said so. But whenever we try to do our own thing, it just crumbles. And man right now is trying to do their own thing, the world to live their own lives the way they want to, and they try to develop their own way to righteousness, develop their own way to be a good person. I mean, some realize they're sinners, some don't, and those people one day will die and wake up in a place where they'll be burning, darkness, loneliness, gnashing of teeth, all that horrible stuff. So the way of men are it's death. All right, the next one, the backbiter, verse 14, the backbiter in heart shall be filled with his own ways, and a good man shall be satisfied with from himself. Now, with this, the backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways. A backslider is a person that was going forward in his walk with Christ, but then fell back. It's just going back to his old ways. Now, God does not punish like we all think. He does punish in some sort of way, but whenever we are disobedient or do what we want, He's going to let us have it. Romans chapter 1 is one of those powerful chapters where He could pretty much tells you if you start doing something that you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to, you continue to dabble in it, I'll let you have it all, and that will be your destruction. And that's what that's saying right there. So just be careful with that. Okay, the next one is verse 15, the second part. But the prudent man looketh well to his going. Same thing, self-awareness. The next verse, 16. A wise man feareth, and departed from evil. So that's pretty much saying, if you fear the Lord, you will depart from evil. My fear is that the Lord will not move in my life. Even thinking right now, without God, it's impossible to live this life, and I may think about doing things that I'm not supposed to, and maybe you do too. And it's important to remember that not to go forward with it. Every man is tempted, just like James said. Every man is tempted when he's drawn away from his own lust and enticed. So whenever you get to that point, I know it's hard, but don't negotiate. Don't negotiate with sin. Don't just remember that God is there with you. He gave you the strength if you just rely on Him, ask Him for grace. Sometimes, like the Apostle Paul, when he was in prison, or I think he had an affliction that he wanted removed, and the Apostle Paul asked for it to be removed 3 times. And the Lord told him that His grace was sufficient. And it's true, It's gonna be sometimes you're gonna be battling with yourself, but do not negotiate with yourself. Once you start negotiating, you're pretty much done. So once that thought comes, that enticement, just cut it off. Go to the Lord in prayer. All right, the verse 17. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. Angry people. So I heard a good sermon from Brother Peacock, Dr. Peacock. He has a church in Jacksonville. He has a YouTube channel. It's called Bible Believers Baptist church, Bible Believers Baptist Church in Jacksonville. So he had a great message about anger, and it's everybody gets angry. It's an emotion that was given to you by God, but it's a warning. Now the warning is, where are you going to direct? Why did you get angry? What is the situation? Now, of course, it's going to be involved with people, but we got to make sure that whenever you get angry, to make sure why you're angry, relax, take a breather, and see what's going on, and resolve the problem. Don't try to figure out how it happened. You can deal with that later. But at the moment, whenever you get angry, because there's a problem, there's conflict, then that's where you practice conflict resolution. So just be careful with that anger, because if you let it take control, like it says, dealeth he that is soon angry dealeth foolishly. And I've seen it firsthand. I have a few people that I know that get angry real quick and say something very foolish that will discourage others, and it'll give him a bad reproach because he is a Christian, and it gives a bad reproach to the Lord's name. Now, it's not up to me to correct him. He knows. He actually has admitted that he has an anger issue. But, all you could do is pray for them, and don't associate much with them, because that anger is it's contagious. So stay away from that. All right, verse 20. The poor is hated even of his own neighbor, but the rich hath many friends. Now this is going to go with verse 21. He that despiseth his neighbor sinneth, but he that hath mercy on the poor, happy is he. So verse 20. There's a lot of people that look down on poor people. I grew up poor. My wife grew up poor. And we were discriminated, not because of the race that we were or anything like that. It was because of the place that we lived. We were ashamed. Because they would make fun of you. And people that make fun of the poor, the Lord always sees everything that's happening, especially for the widows and the poor and the orphans. So those are the three that the Lord really does not like anybody to pick on. And there's people that despise the poor, and that's unfortunate. I won't say that I'm poor anymore, especially compared with the world. I mean, we all live in a country that most people, compared to other parts of the country, we're rich. So we shouldn't be high-minded about that. We should be worried. We should be taking care of the poor in some way, especially the poor in spirit, because that's where everything starts. You can feed a person and he won't learn much. But if you get him to grow spiritually or get saved, the Lord can help him to be rich internally and maybe get a little bit of prosperity. Not much. I mean, I'm not teaching prosperity. I'm just saying, whenever you learn ethics, working ethics, or even the Lord directing you the place that you should go to get fed or to be clothed, so on and so forth. All right, let's go to the next page, to the next verse. So we're going to cut this short. I mean, let me see which one really stood out for me. There's two with the fear of the Lord. So fear of the Lord on verse 26. And the fear of the Lord is strong confidence. That's true. And his children shall have a place of refuge. That's so true. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to depart from the snare of death. So fear of the Lord is very important that you know about. This is something that's taught through the Bible. I think that's why the world is in the condition it is. It doesn't fear God. Especially Christians. Christians forget that there is a God. There is a God that watches over everything and is taking account of everything. So we have to be careful with that. Anyways, I mean, I'm already went over. I'm almost to 20 minutes, but hopefully you get something out of it. I do recommend that you read a chapter of Proverbs every day, especially if you want to do it a systematic way. Just choose like tomorrow. It's gonna be the 31st, or it is 31st. So you just go to Proverbs 31st, and then you start the new year. You know, the first day of the week, go to day one. So that's a way that I've been taught, and it's helped me a lot. It's helped me in my work ethic. It helped me with my conduct with others. So I recommend that. So read that verse, and we'll go on 15 next time.